Welcome to the OFC Community Updates, bringing you the past, present, and future community news.
Once again, welcome to the OFC Community Update. I am Pharaoh Hamid Freeman, and for those who do not know, the OFC stands for One Full Circle. We are the Melanated Community Network, where we focus on bridging the gap between the French and the English-speaking melanated community. And as you just heard, this is the Community Updates, where we like to bridge the gap, where we like to just inform and educate the community. There's a lot going on, a lot going on. But shoot, we only got 15 minutes. We got to kind of cram everything in. And I got an amazing guest this morning. So it is now June 26, 2020. It's been a crazy time. So first, just off the top, I just want to give my most sincere condolences on behalf of myself, the OFC. I want to give condolences to Louise Burns. Her mother had just passed away. We're sending you mad love, Louise, and keep smiling, and definitely rest in power to your mom. And also just in past events, last week, June 15th, Stephen Hennessy hosted an awesome talk between the organizations, just all around the topic of solutions in terms of just combating this sickness that we call racism. Very productive things. There's been some development in the community. Quebec launched an action group to combat racism. Fingers crossed with that one. I don't see much melanin on that committee, but hey, it's there. At least they have the committee, and we'll see what we can do about that. Also, concerning the racism that was spewed out of these two girls' mouths coming out of the West Island from John Rennie. Apparently there have been no charges pressed, but the Lester B. Pearson School Board has also created an action committee. But you guys know where I stand when it comes to these kind of things. One, it's important that we be a part of all these committees. If they're discussing Black solutions, we should definitely be around the table. But at the same time, we should be in a position where we have our own. Economically, we got to get our dough up, and just strategically, we just got to come together as a community and just build what we want. And I'm going to use that as a segue because we have our sponsor online with us this morning. So I have Queen Orphanie with us. Mic check. Orphanie, you here?
Hello. Can you hear me?
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you so much for being with us this morning on the OFC Community Update.
Thank you.
Definitely. So now you're no stranger to the show, I like to say. So you are the founder of Les Poupees d'Or.
Yes.
And is there English translation for that? Would you just say the gold dolls? Like, what would you?
Well, it's really like it's a mix. It's a word of like a play of words with my name, Orphanie, Les Poupees d'Or. It's like Orphanie's dolls, but in English, and then at the same time it translates into the golden dolls. So.
Right, you see, you learn something new every day. That's why people have to tune into the OFC Community Updates in the Business Zone. We like to make sure to enlighten everybody. I'm enlightened, and that's pretty awesome stuff to know. So basically, for those who do not know, can we take a quick sec just to introduce just the business, what the Poupees d'Or is about?
Yes. Well, first of all, hello to everyone listening. Peace. My name is Orphanie. I am the founder and CEO of Les Poupees d'Or. And who I am, I'm a Black mother. I have a Black daughter, and basically we're a Black family. And what I do, I make Black dolls. Firstly, it was for Black children because I thought that there was a lack of representation in the toy industry. So I decided to start making my own dolls that looked more like Black children and Black people. Basically I do it because I want Black children to have toys that they can relate to, that they can identify themselves with, because dolls are very important in the development of children.
You see, and I'm glad you're hitting it on the head, because a lot of times, and well, not so much now because people are waking up, amen to that, but I should say
Yes.
hotep to that. But when I was just starting the OFC, so we're talking about 10 years ago, and I was dropping all these subtle nuances to people because I was like, I thought it was a big deal then. And I was like, like we're not realizing that we have our children playing with all these white dolls at the time, and watching these white children on TV and everything. Even the Baby Can Read program that we have our babies watching is majority European children in there. And I was like, I feel like that does have an impact and effect on our children. And basically, at first, people were just, shitting on me all types because they thought I was nuts, and I was just overlooking
You were
into the
just like
situation.
advanced for your time, Pharaoh.
Yeah, clearly I was. So now, and the thing is, like, and you and I, we had an opportunity to speak on just the levels, like, that this goes in, like, so everybody, well, for the most part, people know about the black doll test and stuff like that, but can you share, because you and I had spoken a little bit even about like the impact of the dolls, and you had mentioned like a court case and stuff like that was really heavy, that I would love for you to share with the listeners.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's so many levels to this because as children, it's really important that you're able to relate. As children, while you're a parent, I'm a parent, and we know that our job is to build up our children, to build up their self-esteem, to have them grow up confident in who they are. And so that when they go out there, they know where they're going, they know who they are, when they're faced with a world that is very harsh towards them, so as parents, it's our job in
Exactly.
general, whether you're a black parent or white parent, no matter well, your ethnicity. But as black people, it's even more important that we push our children to be strong in who they are, because we know that the moment they step out there, it's war. They're going to be at war, whether they're at school, at work, even at school. It starts even like in elementary school. It starts very, very young, because we are educating our children to be strong black children, but we can't overlook the fact that other people are educating their children based on their values, which is not really, which does not always go in the best interest of our black children. You know
Well,
what I mean?
well said. That was a nice way of saying it.
Hmm. Yeah, I
Yes.
mean, we gotta be politically correct.
Yes, yes, exactly. Yes, yes. Very
So
nice way of putting it. Yes. Mhm.
yeah, yeah, and it starts really. It starts at home. It starts at home, and the way that we do it, we have to, like you said it yourself. Back then, you open the television, it's non-blacks all the time, most of the time, and when they're shown, they're portrayed as, in the worst light ever. It's like always a negative, very negative stereotypes. We already know what I'm talking about. So as parents, it's really our responsibility to like reinforce our children using positive representation and positive images, whether it's through books, the cartoons. You look for black cartoons, black TV characters. We had the Cosby Show back then, but that was canceled. We had this, the Family Matters, that was canceled.
Yeah, a
And
different
it's like
world.
they,
All tons of them.
you know what I mean? You had the Will Smith and the Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, that was canceled. Well, that's actually a classic that to this day I watch with my baby girl,
Yep,
because
yep.
you know what I mean? Because we have to go back to these times, because today that doesn't really exist. Today you have shows like
Yep.
what
It's like they're not reflected. They're not reflected in the medias.
they're not reflected at all. So basically, yeah. So that's why I'm like, one of the elements that we need to use, it's the dolls. And then I'm trying to like not be all over the place, but dolls are
Hmm.
important, and
Hmm.
that it's a tool. Before, I'm like, okay, you know what? Let me just make black dolls, because hey, it's really hard to find them, and to find beautiful black dolls with the afro hair, with the
Hmm.
swag, that really like portrays our swagger, or magic, or dopeness, because
Our culture.
and our culture,
Yeah.
exactly, like it's really hard, because well, you need black people to make these dolls. If we're like waiting for white people or any other people to make our dolls, they're never going to be a reflection of who we are. It takes us to create things for us, for ourselves.
100%.
So I started to personalize the dolls. I use African print fabric. because they're so colorful and representative of who we are. And really, it was just that's the reason why I started it. But the more I went on and the more I researched, and that's where we can touch upon the court case that I discovered, where there's the doll test that was done and redone so many times. But I discovered that the original doll test, it dates back from the 1940s, and it was conducted by Kenneth and Mamie Clark, and they're an African American couple. They're psychologists, and they conduct research with children specifically. And one of their research was the doll test, where they took dolls. They took 4 dolls that they actually painted them brown, because at the time there were no black dolls. And it's like identical dolls. 2 of them were painted black, well, brown. And they asked the children to pick the ones that were pretty, the dolls that were smart, the dolls that were intelligent, etc. And then most of the children picked the white doll and gave them the positive characteristics. And because of that, they concluded that prejudice, discrimination, and segregation created a feeling of inferiority in the children, and it damaged their self-esteem, because at the time, the places, restaurants, schools, everything was segregated. So obviously the children, they're gonna be like, well, if I don't have access to this and I don't have access to that, but the white kids have access to it, then I wanna be white. And it's such a logical way of thinking. So that's why they did not like the black doll, because the black doll did not have access to a whole bunch of things that the white doll would have access to. And that's where you see that it's not really a matter of self-hate. It's a matter of like self-preservation, because you want to look like the people who have the most rights, who have the access to a whole bunch of things that you don't have access to. And that research was actually used in a court case that's called Brown versus the board, I think. Let me see. Yeah, exactly. So Brown versus the board, where they used that study to, well, the Clarks testified as key experts and they brought up the study, and it actually contributed to public schools being desegregated in the United States in the 1950s.
Wow.
Yeah,
You see, and the thing is, like, yo, knowledge is power, like we say all the time, but it's like we totally take it for granted. And just to hear, like, and to understand the weight of that, and like now it's like we were taking it for so lightly, and we're taking it for granted. But I'm glad that we're at a point now where people are waking up, people are becoming more conscious, people are educating themselves more on the value, and us as like this generation, we're wide awake. I can't even say what we are wide awake, and we're making sure that our children are getting the foundation that they need. And so I'm super excited just to see the future, like, because it's like, you know, whatever we're going through right now, I like to call it like a transition. There's discomfort in a transition. It's normal, it's happening. But when we get through this, when we get over this hurdle, like, it's going to be a new day, you know, and I'm really, really, really excited. So now, so how can people get in contact with you? Because I want to make sure, because we have like 3 minutes left. So yes.
Really, 3 minutes. Oh my gosh, it goes by so fast. It's crazy. Wow, man. It's well, I mean, it is a new era, and I feel like it's really, we've been awake, but I think that, and you know what, I want to touch on the George Floyd situation, where I definitely believe that if we want to bring it into like the spiritual aspect of it, because I feel like it's really important to go there. I think that George Floyd, he actually, his life and death were a contribution to ushering in a new era, or just like solidifying it, because it was already in the making. But that was just like it's like a gong, you know, that was just like boom, and then a whole bunch of us were like, okay, there's something going on. We've been knowing, but it's like the rest of the world now, you have like everybody is protesting. You see protests all over the world against racism, which is crazy. That's not something that you've seen before, but I think that his death really ushered that in. And I feel like it's really important for us to just continue doing the work, because what we're doing what you've been doing for like the past 10 years, what I'm doing with the dolls, I feel like it's just it's even more important that we continue doing it, because it's going to be even more important as when people are waking up, that they know that, okay, this is here, this resource is here, these resources are there and have been there, and now they're going to be able to go straight to them and use them, because we've been preparing for it, we've been ready, you know.
That's true. That's true.
So the way that they can and I'm just very honored and humble and very happy that this is my art, and this is the way that I contribute, that I came to this world to contribute to this, which I didn't know 4, 5, 6 years ago, that it would have such an impact. And these dolls are actually for non-blacks as well, because it's important that non-blacks are exposed to Black beauty and to Black culture, because there was this video of this little girl, her parents offered her like a Black doll for Christmas, and they filmed her reaction. And the little girl, she was a white little girl, and she threw the Black doll across the room, and she was crying, she was hysterical, and the parents were laughing, ah, ha, 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 because they thought that her reaction was so funny. But they don't realize that this little girl is going to grow up to be a CEO, she's going to grow up to be a manager, she's going to grow up to be a banker, and she's going to grow up with the notion that the Black doll, she's going to associate it with Black people. And when a Black person is going to come into her office for a job, for a loan, she's already going to have that ingrained in herself, that no, I didn't have she didn't like the Black doll, therefore she doesn't like Black people. It's like on a subconscious level, it's already playing, it's already happening, you know. So white children, non-Black children need to have Black dolls as well, because they need to be exposed to Blackness so that they grow up with it. And then when they're adults, it's not going to be a surprise to them when they have Black people around them, and they're not going to be forced to like Black people like it's the case today. We're like saying to white people, like us, please like us, when they grew up not being exposed to us and being exposed to a whole bunch of negativity when it comes to Black people. So as adults, we cannot change them because it's too late. Right. So that's when we have to start educating not only our children to love themselves through the dolls, but we need to educate non-Black children to appreciate Black people through dolls as well, because dolls, that's what they use to develop compassion and empathy, and it goes for every children from every ethnicity. Wow. This being said, it was important that I bring this up. I wanted to bring that up. So how you can reach me, my website, www.lespoupedor.ca, Instagram, Les Poupées d'Or, Facebook.
Hold on. So for people who are listening, Poupee is spelled P-O-U-P-E-E?
Yeah, P-E-E-S. So it's LESPOUPEESDOR.ca.
.ca.
Yeah, and then
amazing. Yeah, we have to spell it out for the listeners.
Yeah, for the Anglophones, yeah, definitely, even for the Francophones. So, and then Facebook, Instagram, it's Les Poupées d'Or as well. And I'll be more than happy to receive comments, to receive ideas as well, because we're actually we're in the process where we're going to be developing our own doll.
Okay.
So that's where that's what we're heading towards. So any ideas and, feedback is very welcome.
Yeah, and I was about to say, so if people did want to, like, you got mothers, fathers out there who might be creative, or they have children and they want to share one, they want to support and encourage you, but then at the same time they might have ideas. So you are coming up with a new line of dolls. So you are receiving feedback from people. Right?
Definitely.
So through the website or through the social medias, they could contact you through the same way and just share their ideas or concepts and stuff like that.
Yes, I'd love to. I love to exchange with people, and I would love to receive their ideas, to know what they think. And yeah, definitely they can reach me through these platforms.
So this has been another exceptional OFC community update. Now, before I wrap, is there any last words? Anything you want to say? And we didn't get to touch on it, but I'm going to throw it in right now because everybody knows how I get down. But I know we, again, off air, we even spoke about how Marcus Garvey thought it was important, just this subtle fact, our children having these dolls, that he himself had made it a point to I guess endorse or create doll factories. So I think I think that's important just to share with people, just to get understand the importance that even Garvey thought that this was a huge and vital thing to invest into. But the floor is yours. Do you have any last and final closing words for us?
Well, you said it. You said it. Even the father of Pan-Africanism, the founder of the UNIA, who was all about the advancement of Black people, he saw the importance of children to play with dolls that looked like them, because dolls are like a miniature representation of who they are. They see their reflection in the doll, and the doll is a baby. They get to nurture the doll. They get to play with the doll. It's their baby, but it's themselves at the same time. So if you have a doll that does not look like you, and at the same time, everything that looks like you is made fun of, is diminished. I mean, that's a recipe for disaster. That's a recipe for children who are going to grow up like wanting to be somebody else or anything but themselves. Mm-hmm. So Black dolls, it's really important for parents to know that it's not only a toy, but it's actually a tool that they can use to instill self-love in their children, to instill self-esteem in their children. And it's important for the dolls to have like the locks, like you can see with the doll here, she has like these locks, and this one she has an afro, because those are our hairstyles, and it's important that they know that they're beautiful and that they're normal, you know, and that they don't need to look like other people to have value. So that's really the mission behind Les Poupées d'Or.
I have to applaud.
Oh.
Sorry, I had to give that an applause right there. I'm not in the studio, so I don't have my good hand claps, but you had to get, you know, like, you had to get it right there. That was dope. What you just said, that was heavy, heavy, heavy.
Oh, thank you. Well, that's what it is, and that's the mission of Les Poupées d'Or, basically. Education and, you know, just empowering us and empowering the world and making this world a better place.
Yeah. Hotep and amen to that. So again, for our listeners, I thank you guys for taking part with us this morning. This has been another episode of the OFC Community Updates. We had an amazing guest with us, Orphanie from the Poupees d'Or. Yes. I'm glad to have you as a member of the OFC. You're an exceptional contribution to the community, sister.
Thank you very much.
I love what you're doing. I want to just continue to encourage you. And again, community, now you know where to find your Black dolls, and definitely get in contact and share your ideas, because this is how we build together as a community. It takes a village, like they say. You know what I mean?
Right.
So with that, thank you guys again. This is your boy, Pharaoh Hamid Freeman, signing out.
Thank you. Thank you.